to show you one shift that is literally going to change the trajectory of your whole career. But first you need to understand the neuroscience behind this, and trust me, I'm not joking. This is literally something I've done myself, and I've shown loads of other people how to do the exact same thing. Most people right now, they say they want a 100k career or a 6-figure career. But if you were truly already aligned with that identity, you would already have it. And I'm so sorry to call you out, but this is the exact cold hard truth, right? So the key understanding you need to have right now, you're not going to get the career you want. You get the career that matches the identity of the person you are right now. Look, there's a common problem that we need to talk about. We need to sit down and talk about it, because you've been doing this for the longest time. I did this for the longest time, and it's going to keep you stuck in the exact same goddamn place if you don't basically get out of this situation. A lot of people, when they feel stuck, they feel like they need to try a different strategy. They think that they need to be more qualified. They think they need to make more applications. They think they need to put in more effort. But none of that changes how you see yourself, how you behave in an opportunity, when you get an opportunity in an interview, whether you self-sabotage, or how your brain actually processes risk itself. So realistically, you could be doing all of those things, but the important aspect here is your brain doesn't care about how much ambition you have. It cares about what already feels familiar to you. And this is where this little hack that I'm about to tell you comes into clutch. Now we need to understand the neuroscience behind this, and we're going to keep this very simple as an introductory concept, but this is super important for you to understand before we actually go into the hack that I want to show you, because it's not going to work unless you have the core understanding of it first. So your brain has been using past experiences to predict what is going to happen in the future. For example, if you grow up around beliefs, whether that was the education system or even around family members, for example, telling you a 30k job is the limit and a 30k salary is great, you are going to believe and use that past experience and project that into your future, and therefore your limit will be, oh, a 30k salary is amazing, so I'm going to stick to this for the rest of my life and never be able to go past it. Another thing is you may have been told to be more realistic, and as a result of that, in your adult life and in the future, you are only going to aim for roles where you feel safe. You're not going to take risk, and your ambition is kind of mellowed. So this ties back in with the concept I mentioned earlier. Your brain prefers the familiarity of the past over potential, which is why this will keep projecting into your future unless you rewire and change this, because it's designed to protect what it already knows. If you do kind of try and increase your ambition, or you try and go for that next opportunity, it's outside of that concept, that little bubble of what you see as familiar. And because of that, your nervous system actually interprets that as a threat. Like, it literally interprets it as a threat, which is why you get anxiety going for that situation, because your system goes into fight or flight mode. That's why you talk yourself out of opportunities. That's why you don't take that risk, because your brain is resetting itself back to the ceiling that you know. And it's not your fault you can't go past this, but this feels neurologically unsafe. And your brain will keep subtly pulling you back to what feels familiar, because you've had exposure to this from your past, and in your present, you're using your past again to predict your future. So now I'm going to introduce the concept to you, and this is called identity rehearsal. Now, what is identity rehearsal? What you need to understand is that the most elite performers, athletes, celebrities, you know, they do this. These athletes, they mentally rehearse their performances on the track. Before the Olympics, they envision and imagine themselves running, how it would feel, how would they act, what would that version of themselves who has an Olympic gold medal, how would they be running on the track? Because what this does, their brain, when they rehearse this over a long period of time, repeatedly, the brain actually forms an activated neural pathway. And this builds familiarity around that moment before you step into it, which means when the actual moment comes, there's less anxiety, there's less pressure, there's less nervousness, and most of all, they're showing up as the version of themselves who has that Olympic gold medal. And this is why this is one of the most powerful concepts, because you can literally apply this to your own life. And this can apply to your career as well. For example, interviews. If you're always turning up to an interview with an anxious energy, and let's say a week or two before, you're constantly imagining the version of you who already landed the offer through that interview, you would obviously show up to that interview with a very different energy. How would you speak in that interview? How would you act? What would you be wearing? How would you hold yourself? Would you be using hand gestures? Would you be making eye contact? All of these things will help you get there. Before stepping into environments, I have mentally rehearsed myself being that person, and I still do it to this day. And what this actually does, it trains your nervous system to increase that identity ceiling. So you're able to not predict the same outcome in your future anymore. And this is the most interesting part. I'm going to give you something to do for literally like the next 28 days. I promise you, if you do this, you'll become supernatural. It's like Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural. You'll literally become supernatural, okay? Every day, before you go to sleep or when you wake up, whichever one's better for you, because your brain will be in a theta state, and this is when it's most suggestible. Imagine waking up as the version of you who has 100K. Just spend 2 minutes, literally 2 to 3 minutes when you wake up or before you sleep, visualizing the emotions of what that person would do, okay? Again, how do they think? How do they speak? What energy do they have? How do they handle opportunities? Envision the money in your bank account. Envision whether you want to be a content creator getting all of those views. The goal is to make that neurologically familiar, so that installs a new identity in your body and you're able to go and achieve that. Because with the current ceiling you have, you'll never be able to progress past it and achieve what you want, because your nervous system cannot sustain that level and it cannot hold it. And when your brain changes what it's familiar with, you will achieve that goal 10 times faster. And come back in 30 days and comment on this video and tell me how much I changed your life. I will see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe and drop a comment as well.